In this video, we'll be covering Chapter 8, Section 3. This is simple interest. We're going to start with our formula sheet. And as you can see here, you're given the formulas, but you have to know what these symbols stand for. Okay? So the I is going to stand for interest. The P will be the principal. The R is the rate. It is always going to be expressed as a decimal, but it will give it to you as a percentage. Okay? T will be the time, and it's usually in years, even though sometimes it could be in months or weeks or days. Okay? Example 1. A student took out a simple interest loan for $2,400 for 2 years at a rate of 7%. What is the interest on the loan? So here we want to find out how much that student will be paying on interest. Okay? Using the formula sheet, it says a simple interest, we'll be using this formula. I is equal to PRT. Our interest is what we want to know. This is going to represent the amount that we're paying in interest. Our principal, think of it as the amount you put down or the amount you borrow. In this case, the principal is $2,400. Time is going to be 2 years, and our rate is 7%. I'm going to go ahead and put down my formula here and then include the variables. 2,400. R, notice here I use it as 7%. It's a little bit easier when you have the percent sign. And T is going just to be 2. When we put it in our calculator, you're going to enter it exactly the way you see it. 2,400 times 7%. Second, the parentheses, times 2. Okay? If you don't have the percent sign, you have to translate this back to a decimal. When you press enter, it gives you the interest of $336. Example 2. You deposit $3,000 into a savings account at your town bank, which has a rate of 5%. So here, our principal will be $3,000. That's the amount that you put down. 5% is our rate, or 0.05. Find the interest at the end of the first year. So T here is going to be 1. I'm going to go ahead and enter that information into the calculator exactly as it's shown. Times 5% times 1. Okay. In this case, you earn $150. In this case, you will earn $150 after 1 year of leaving $3,000 in your account that earns 5%. This next part is talking about future value for simple interest. In this type of equation here, our A is going to refer to the future value. In other words, this is the amount in the future that you will have at the end of that time. P is still principal. R will still be your rate. Again, it is given as a percentage, but you use it as a decimal. And then T, of course, is time, usually in years. A loan of $2,040 has been made at 7.5% interest for 4 months. Find the loan's future value. So in this particular case, we're looking for A. How much are we going to pay at the end of our loan? Okay. For this equation, you will see that it is located on your formula sheet under simple interest. A equals P, parentheses, 1 plus RT, close parentheses. Let's fill in our values. 2,040 is our P, 1. R is 7.5%. And then we have a time of 4/12. Now, the reason we have time as 4 out of 12 is because the time is supposed to be represented in years. But since we only have 4 months, we want to present it as a decimal of years. So 4 months is not a full year. It will be part of a year. It will be 4 months out of 12. So you need to make sure to use the time in terms of years. Okay. All I'm going to do for this one is go ahead and plug it into the calculator like I see it. I would recommend using the parentheses as shown in the calculation itself. So 2040 parentheses 1 plus 7.5% sign parentheses 4 divided by 12. 2 parentheses, make sure to include them also on your calculations. When you press enter, you get $2,091. So what this means is that if you borrow $2,040, at the end of 4 months, you would have paid back a total of $2,091. This means you paid an interest of $51 for those 4 months. Number 4. Number 4 says a person with a pack-a-day cigarette habit spends $5 a day, 7 days a week on cigarettes. Part A. How much is spent on this item in a year? So all we're going to do is use our dimensional analysis that we learned in the last unit to find out how much money per year is spent on cigarettes. So $5 in 1 day. There are 365 days in a year, so this is going to be our conversion of 1. You can see that the days cancel out, so we're going to have 5 times 365. Okay, so 5 times 365 equals $1,825 is spent on cigarettes per year. Part B says if this person invested the yearly spending for cigarettes in a savings account with a rate of 4%, how much would be saved after 1 year? Okay. So since we're looking for a future value, we will be using this equation here. Now that I have my equation here, I need to identify my values given. The amount that we will be saving is $1,825. This is also going to be our principal. Our rate is going to be 4%, and our time will be 1 year. Okay, so we're finding our future money. Principal, $1,825, parentheses, 1 plus rate is 4% times 1 year, which is just going to be 4%. So all I'm going to do here is enter it exactly the way I see it. 1825, parentheses, 1 plus 4, and then include that percent sign. Okay. When I press enter, I get $1,898. If you want to know how much this person would have made, we would take the amount in a year and subtract the amount that we put in. So this person made $73 in 1 year by investing the amount that would have spent on cigarettes. Example 5 says, you borrow $5,000 from a friend and promise to pay back $6,800 in 2 years. What is the simple interest that you will pay back? Okay, so our current amount that we're borrowing is $5,000. That will be our value for P. The amount we're going to pay back in 2 years is $6,800. That's going to be our future amount, or our A. Okay, we know that time is 2 years. We want to know what is our interest rate, or in other words, the R. So go ahead and find the formula that we'll use to include our future value, and we're going to go ahead and write that out. All I'm going to do here is substitute my values. A is 6,800 equals to P, which is 5,000, parentheses 1 plus R, We don't know what that value is, so I'm leaving that as an R, and our time would be 2 years. Okay. First thing I did is I went ahead and divided everything by 5,000. That will cancel this out, leaving this side of the equation equal to 6,800 divided by 5,000, which comes out to 1.36. I still have the information that's in the parentheses here, which I just brought down. Okay, we're going to subtract 1 from both sides, minus 1, and we'll get 0.36 is equal to 2R. Isolate the R by dividing both sides by 2, so when I do that, I get R is equal to 0.18. Remember that this is a decimal place. We want a percentage, so I'm going to multiply that number by 100. Here I can say the rate that we paid back our friend was 18%. For problem 6, it says, how much should you put in an investment paying a simple interest rate of 8% if you need $4,000 in 6 months? So if you look at this particular problem, we're saying we want to have $4,000 in 6 months. So I'm going to say my future value will be $4,000. My time will be 6 months out of a year, or in other words, half a year, 0.5 years. Our interest rate is 8%. We're trying to solve for P. So let's go ahead and use our future value equation. We have 4,000 is equal to P, which we don't know, so use the variable P, times 1 plus R is 8% and time is 0.5. First thing I did was go ahead and enter the part in the parentheses in the calculator exactly like I see it. Times 0.5. Okay. I have 1.04 inside the parentheses. My 4,000 is equal to P times 1.04. Once I get my 1.04 in the parentheses, I can now tell that I can divide by 1.04. So our 1.04 will cancel out, and we're left with 4,000 divided by 1.04. So 4,000 divided by 1.04. Okay. That will give us a value of $3,846.16. In this particular case, you always round up to ensure that you have exactly $4,000 or more. If we left this at a 5, we would not reach the $4,000 goal. We'll be a little bit short. Okay. Always remember when you're dealing with money to go ahead and round to 2 decimal places and always round up. Okay. That concludes 8.3. Let me know if you have any questions.